Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Monica. I like to post anti-MLM and some life content here on this channel. In today's video, we are going to be doing a deep dive into the beast of an MLM that is Amway. Of course, as per usual, disclaimer, this video is for entertainment purposes only, and of course my opinions. If I ever do have sources or anything like that, I always do leave them in the description box below so that you can also take a look at it on your own time. I'm going to leave a timestamp up on the screen if you just want to get into the Amway discussion, but I did want to have a quick little chat with my subscribers and my viewers and everything like that. So I do want to say thank you so much for all of your support over the past 2 weeks. I don't know what happened, but there's been more traffic to my channel, and also there's been way more traffic to my anti-MLM Facebook group. So I do want to say, if you're new here, welcome, thank you for coming, and of course thank you for your continued support. What I will also say is, with the amount of new traffic that has come to this channel, I have had quite the number of trolling comments. I am all for people having their own opinion. I will say, I did have a very good and healthy discussion with someone who is pro MLM, and I did like the points that they did make, which is, I put this in my community tab and I did put it in my anti-MLM group as well, because I know not all of you that watch me are on Facebook, so I wanted to put it in the community tab as well. But I did say that after talking to that person, of course they are pro MLM, they did say that while they don't agree with the anti-MLM, I guess you could say community and everything, they do respect our opinion. And they did say that they would like to see someone talk about, I guess, the opposing side. So I came up with this idea that I think what I want to do, it's going to be very hard to find someone who is willing to have an adult discussion and will eventually be able to, in the end, agree to disagree. I would like to have a discussion with someone who is pro MLM or who is currently in an MLM, only because I do want to show the other side. I feel as though it would be fair to kind of play devil's advocate and allow someone to share their opinion and why they aren't anti-MLM and they're pro-MLM. So if you are watching this and you are in an MLM and you are willing to have an adult discussion with me and not get incredibly heated and aggressive, because I know that people can get aggressive, if you're willing to have an adult discussion with me, then let me know in the comments section, because I am open to that and I am open to showing the other side, because I do think that it would be fair. I do want to say that I do have a lot of notes, and I will probably I'll probably be reading from my notes, only because I do have a little bit of like a memory issue. So I wanted to make sure that I have everything that I possibly can have all in one spot and just remember to say it all. So I guess let's just get into this deep dive of Amway. Any reps out there for Amway, I suggest, before you start attacking me in the comments and saying that I know nothing about Amway, please watch the video in its entirety, only because there are a few things in this, a very small amount, but there are a few things in this that I will applaud Amway for, which, as an anti-MLMer, it's really hard for me to say that, but let's get into it. In case you didn't know, Amway is short for American Way, and it was founded by Richard DeVos and Jay Van Andel. Amway sells nutrition products, beauty products, personal care products, and home products, which we will go over a little bit later. I want to start off with the history of Amway first. Amway conducts business in 100 countries, and because of this, in my personal opinion, I think because of that, a lot of people will think that they're a legitimate company because of the fact that they operate globally and because they're so well known and they've been around for so long. They are also known for their 70-30 rule. I had someone comment on my first ever anti-MLM video and tell me that I was wrong in what I was saying, because I basically said that, in my personal opinion, I think that an MLM is a legal pyramid scheme, because the structure is the same, and the reason why they're legal is they sell a product. They still recruit people, but they also sell a product. Whereas in a pyramid scheme, it's all recruitment, or most of their money comes from recruitment. So the person that commented said that I need to discuss the Amway 70-30 rule. But after listening to the Dream podcast and doing a little bit of further digging, it's basically a policy that Amway had in place, and that is what saved them from being considered a pyramid scheme, I guess you can say. So let's just go over a little bit about the 70-30 rule. Network marketers can hardly escape the term 70% rule. They see it in distributor agreements and policies and procedures. The term is mentioned on their product order forms. Regulatory agencies and Better Business bureaus talk about the 70% rule, as do trade associations and consumer journalists. What is this 70% rule, and why is it so pervasive? What should companies and distributors know about its history and its use today? The 70% rule in a nutshell. In a nutshell, the 70% rule is to be found in the distributor agreements or policies and procedures of most leading network marketing companies. Its intended purpose is to prevent purchases of inventory in unreasonable or excessive quantities by distributors. As it is typically stated, the rule requires that distributors procure orders for inventory only when they have disgorged themselves of at least 70% of previously purchased inventory. The bottom line is that the distributor should not reorder unless product which has been previously purchased has been passed on to ultimate users. And when they say ultimate users, they mean actual customers, not other Amway distributors. After listening to the Dream podcast, they kind of dissected the 70-30 rule a little bit. And from the research that I did do, now I'm not sure because I didn't find this on a credible website, so I don't know if this is entirely true. But from what I found online, apparently Amway had this in their policies or procedures or something like that. And when other MLM companies were brought to court for being an alleged pyramid scheme, they said that they were following this Amway 70-30 rule, but they did not win their court case. So I have my own theories about it. Maybe they just didn't have a really good team of lawyers, but we'll get into that again a little bit later. In 1949, Nutrilite Products Corporation made it into the lives of Richard DeVos and Jay Van Andel by Jay Van Andel's second cousin, Neil Mescant. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Nutrilite Products Corporation sold food supplements, and both DeVos and Van Andel became distributors in August of 1949. After about 2 weeks, they did lose interest in working for this company. However, Van Andel's cousin asked them to just give it another shot, which of course we know a lot of MLM reps do this. They say just give it another shot. And he said just come to this event or conference or whatever it was that they were having. Both of them did go, and they decided to continue with Nutrilite. By 1958, Van Andel and DeVos grew their team to 5,000 distributors. Now, think about it. Back in those days, I mean, that's a lot right now, but think about back in those days, that's a ton of people that would be on your team. So, of course, they were successful with Nutrilite. And then in 1959, they did start Amway, and the reason why is because they were slightly concerned with where Nutrilite Products Corporation was going. So I didn't look into it further, but what I'm going to assume is that maybe there was something going on and they weren't sure if the company was going to stay around for a while, which, or I guess you could say the stability of the company. They weren't sure of the stability of the company. So eventually, Amway bought controlling interest of Nutrilite in 1972 and full ownership in 1994. I wanted to move on to their expansion, and I'm gonna read all of this because there is no way I'm gonna remember any of this, but they expanded to Australia in 1971, parts of Europe in 1973, parts of Asia in 1974, Japan 1979, Latin America 1985, Thailand 1987, China 1995, Africa 1997, India and Scandinavia in 1998, Ukraine in 2003, Russia 2005, and Vietnam in 2008. So they have expanded quite a lot. In 2018, they were ranked the 42nd largest privately held company in the US by Forbes. And they were also the #1 largest company of the direct selling news global 100 list in the year 2018. So with that being said, there are quite a number of articles that I found about Amway, which I'm going to leave the links to below, because I feel as though if I just keep reading them on camera, you guys are going to get really bored really quick. But the one that I did want to go over is the article that talks about the $150 million fine that Amway did pay, because it was interesting in the article how they went about it. And I'm just going to give you little snippets from it, but you can read it on your own time. So the size of the settlement astonished some observers, and the news is spreading fast. It was reported on the front page of USA Today Amway, and this is, by the way, in 2010. About $55 million of the total is in actual cash and products as restitution for victims and legal fees. Other elements of the settlement include substantial price reductions to make retail sales feasible and major changes in the infamous tools business that will require Amway to take greater responsibility. These schemes are run by some of Amway's top recruiters and have been allowed to function at arm's length rogue operations, though highly beneficial to Amway. I believe these are the claims that were in the class action lawsuit where this article was started from, or you know what I mean. Amway is an illegal pyramid scheme. Amway's kingpin companies that sell motivation and training products to recruits are also an illegal pyramid scheme. Amway criminally violates federal racketeering law. Amway violates California's endless chain law. Amway masks criminal behavior with claims that it is in compliance with a federal Amway ruling of more than 25 years ago. In fact, Amway is not in compliance with the ruling, and I believe that they're referring to the 1979 Amway case, which is where that 70-30 rule came from. More claims include Amway induces salespeople to buy thousands of dollars of overpriced products and useless success tools, and then to recruit others to do the same in an endless chain scheme that dooms, by design, nearly all to losses. Amway deliberately deceives consumers to enroll in the pyramid scheme, in which they inevitably suffer financial loss. Amway's arbitration rule, which is intended to prevent victim lawsuits against it, is unfair and unconscionable. I don't know if I said that right. Amway commits wire fraud and mail fraud. So there were a lot of claims. They paid a lot of money. And a lot of people decided, hold on, I'm scrolling to it. One part of this article, it said admission of guilt. Even though the settlement states that Amway admits no wrongdoing, the fact that Amway agreed to pay accusers and incur other remedial costs up to $150 million, choose not to allow the case to go to trial, will be read by many people as compelling evidence of guilt. A settlement of this size can hardly be written off as a cheaper than legal defense. In fact, Amway incurred huge legal costs and held up the settlement for 3 years by arguing not that the accusations were untrue, but that the victims had no legal right to bring a suit. When the right to sue was established in court, Amway paid up. This next part, I'm really kind of scared to record and talk about, only because I feel as though they're gonna come for me after I talk about this. Now, of course, this next part is opinion-based only. This is opinion-based. This is just a theory that I have, and by no means is this factual or anything like that. So please, this is my opinion, the next statement I'm about to make. My theory is that the reason why Amway is still around and why they have gotten in trouble so many times and gotten away with it is because of their government involvement. Now, again, that's my opinion. So from the research that I found, I'm going to read all of this from my notebook because this is way over my head and I just would not be able to remember this. Now, by no means turn this into a political debate in the comments section. let's just get into it. In the 1990s, Amway was a major contributor to the Republican Party. Amway contributed to the 1994 campaign for Republican Congresswoman Sue Merrick. Apparently, Sue had spoken at many Amway rallies. So, from a business standpoint, if you're going to be funding a candidate in the government, regardless of what it is or what it's for, if that person, takes the money from you and then you invite them to one of your conferences or events, wouldn't you think that people would think this is a legitimate company because we have a government official in the room talking to us? Good job, Amway. That was a really good marketing move. Very, very impressive. Then in 1994 again, Amway contributed $2.5 million to the Republican National Committee. In 2004, they contributed a total of $4 million to a conservative group. July 1996, Richard DeVos was honored at a $3 million fundraiser for the Republican Party. April of 1997, Richard DeVos and his wife Helen gave $1 million to the Republican National Committee. And apparently, I don't know if this is entirely true, but in July of 1997, a last-minute provision, a tax bill, emerged that would grant Amway and 4 other companies a tax break on their Asian branches, which totaled $19 million. Then, in August of 1997, the Fort Worth Star-Telegram newspaper wrote about how 5 Republican House members are also Amway distributors. In 1998, Businessweek conducted an analysis that found Amway had contributed to campaign funding for yet another 3 Republican people. According to a report by the Center for Public Integrity in 2004, members of the DeVos and Van Andel families were 2nd, 3rd, and 5th largest donors to the Republican Party. Dick DeVos, who was the son of the Amway founder, served as finance chairman of the Republican National Committee, and his wife, Betsy DeVos, served as the chairman of the Michigan Republican Party from 1996 to 2000 and again in 2003 to 2005. In August of 2012, Fred Krager, a gay rights activist, began a movement to boycott Amway because of a contribution from a private foundation that is, under Amway to the National Organization for Marriage, which is a political organization which opposes the legalization of same-sex marriage. In 2017, on February 7th to be exact, Betsy DeVos was confirmed by the Senate as the 11th Secretary of Education. With all of that being said, again, this is a theory I have, but I do believe that the reason why Amway has gotten away with a lot of things that they got in trouble for is because of their government involvement. They have high-ranking people who are backing up their business and who will fight for them, which essentially in the end is a good business move because okay, moving on. Moving on. Let's move on to what Amway actually sells. So they have, just like I said in the beginning of the video, they have nutrition, beauty, personal care, and home products. Under nutrition, there's vitamins and supplements, weight management, which I guess is called like the Body Key weight loss program, which I'm going to go into because there are a few concerns that I have about that. If you have been watching me for a while, you know that I have been a Beachbody coach before, and because of being in Beachbody, I don't agree with a lot of health and fitness MLMs out there. The reason being is because a lot of them, they like to act as a nutritionist, a dietitian, a personal trainer, and they like to come off as they're certified. Now, I'm not saying that none of them are certified. I'm sure that there are a few out there that are certified to be talking about these things and they know what they're talking about. However, a lot of the ones that I have seen on social media, they aren't certified. So you guys already know my opinion about the health and fitness ones, because I am scared that they can do more harm than good for a lot of people, especially if someone is starting to talk about curing illnesses or helping with diabetes and stuff like that. You guys already know how I feel about that if you've been watching me for a while. But so I looked into the weight management under Amway, and it's called Body Key Weight Loss Program. Now, apparently it's personalized to you and you have like a digital coach. So I'm assuming it's kind of like an app and you go in there and you track everything and whatnot. I know that back in the day when I was trying to do the whole counting macros and stuff like that, which I was not successful with, but when I was doing that, I was using, I think it was MyFitnessPal as an app. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's what it was called. I was using that as a tracker, and just to kind of give a little personal information, back when I was much younger, I did have problems with body image. I still do, but not as bad. And I did have issues with eating. So I'm not going to go into that fully, but I will say that there was a point in time where I was, and there's a reason why I'm telling you guys this. There was a point in time where I was incredibly obsessive about the amount of calories that I had, and also how much I was working out and how much I weighed. Now, I used to weigh myself every single day. And when I would weigh myself, if I weighed, even if it was half a pound more than the day before, then I would cut my calorie intake for that specific day and I would increase to work out more that day. So in my personal opinion, and I had a journal of all of this, like it was just page after page after page. I was incredibly obsessive with it. So the one thing that I didn't like that they said with this weight loss program, now of course you guys know I'm not certified in anything health related or fitness related, so of course please don't take medical health or fitness advice from me. Talk to a professional. But me personally, from experience, I find it obsessive to have to weigh yourself every single day, because there are different factors. You can weigh a different amount every day depending on, you know, whatever your intake was the day before, or if you're working out. In case you didn't know, muscle weighs more than fat. So if you're just weighing yourself and you're not checking your measurements and stuff, then how do you actually know what your body is transitioning into? I mean, if you look at a lot of fitness gurus or, you know, personal trainers out there, a lot of them that I have seen on social media, they do talk about not just weighing yourself. Yes, that's important to an extent, but you need to be measuring other things as well, so that you know that if you are weighing more on the scale, if you're smaller in inches, then you know it's muscle mass, it's not fat. So I just wanted to put that out there, because they did mention about weighing yourself every single day. And me personally, that would be very dangerous for someone like me. Just speaking from experience, that would be really, really bad for me, and I would probably fall back into my bad habits. Moving along to their beauty products. They have skincare, makeup, and fragrance products. I did take a look at some of their products, and I did take a look at some of their like skincare and I guess makeup products, because that's what would interest me. I'm not really interested in fragrances, only because I have a very heightened sense of smell. I didn't even bother looking at that, but I did look at the skincare and the makeup. And some of the products that I looked at, they are very similar in price to more of the higher end and brand name skincare and makeup products out there. Now, I'm the type of person where when it comes to skincare, I really invest in my skincare because I am in my 30s. I'm not getting any younger. My skin's not getting any younger. So of course I know that I have to take care of my skin. Personally, when it comes to skincare, I would not buy any skincare from an MLM. That's just my personal opinion, and that's just my preference. When it comes to makeup, makeup's a little different, and I know that some people might be like, okay, well, why are you investing in skincare, but you're not really investing in makeup? Because I do use a lot of drugstore makeup. Please don't come for me in the comments, please. I have some brand name makeup, but I would rather spend more money on keeping my skin a certain way than makeup, because I really only wear makeup when I go on camera to talk to you guys or to go out, and we don't really go out all that often. So for me, makeup isn't really as important, and I'm also one of those people where I have no problem going out in public without makeup. So, and that's just my personal, because I don't really like to wear too much makeup. So that's why when it comes to that, I really don't mind buying drugstore, and some of the makeup that they have on their site is a little too pricey for me, just in my opinion. They also have personal care products, so that includes bath and body care, hair care, oral care. And the crazy part that I saw under the oral care was that they have, like, it's almost like an air freshener, but for your mouth. So I think it's called like a breath freshener or something like that. So in my mind, I'm thinking, so instead of these people buying a pack of gum or buying some Altoids, they use this breath freshener thing. I mean, maybe it's just me, but I don't see a use for that. I mean, again, that's just personal opinion, so maybe that's just me being me. But moving along to their home products, that includes air treatment, laundry, cookware, surface cleaners, dish, water treatment, disinfectant cleaners. Amway really does have a lot of products, and I mean, from a business standpoint, I guess for them it's good because they're not just marketing towards one group of people, they're marketing towards multiple different industries, because you have stuff for your home, personal care, you have, you know, beauty products, you have nutritional products. So they are essentially every MLM combined into one. And like I said, from a business standpoint, I guess it's good for them because they can market so many different people, which also means they can have so many different distributors, because all of those distributors like different things. So let's say that, you know, I went on to become a distributor for Amway, and I decided that I'm going to do the beauty products, whereas let's say my fiance joined and he would do something like the home products, or you know what I mean, like it's like specifically the water treatments or whatever the case may be. So it's a good marketing tactic, really. It really is. I will give them that. Let's move on to the compensation plan / income statement or income disclosure statement. So there was no income disclosure statement that I could find that was a recent one, like the ones that I have shown on this channel. I'm gonna leave a link to this below. I don't believe this is a credible source because it is a blog, so I don't know how accurate this is. So I do just want to throw that out there, but I could not find an actual legitimate income disclosure statement. So the only little bit that I found online was apparently this was for 2016, and it says the average monthly gross income for active IBOs, which independent business owner, oh god, makes me so angry to say that, was $207, and approximately 48% of all IBOs were active. And then it goes on to say that, where is it? US IBOs were considered active in months in 2016 when they attempted to make a retail sale or presented Amway IBO compensation plan or received bonus money or attended or attended an Amway or IBO meeting. If someone sustained that level of activity every month for a whole year, their annualized income would be $2,484. So can you imagine only making about $3,000 in a year? That's not a lot. And that's why it worries me a little bit. I know that they don't have to show their income disclosure statement. I get that. And if someone can find a recent one, please let me know in the comment section below, because that is literally all I was able to find. Their compensation plan, I had to watch an Amway video on this because I could not find on their website the actual compensation plan. I found images of it on Google, but I don't know how, I guess, accurate they really are, because I don't know if it's a credible source. I don't know from how long ago it was and that sort of thing. So I did watch the video that is on the Amway website. So they do say that they have 3 ways to earn. One is retail margin, and that is the customer price minus the price you will pay, or the price you paid. And underneath that it says retail margin. The second way you can earn is monthly bonuses. The more products you and your team sell, the more bonuses you earn. Points from the products you and your team sell will earn you monthly performance bonuses. Then the third way to earn money is discretionary incentives, and that is accumulated points and additional rewards for consistent growth may earn you extra cash, business conferences, and trips. Even though there wasn't an actual chart or anything like that, from the stuff that I did find online, a lot of the explanations were in a triangle structure. So I do think that this is probably just like any other MLM. The structure is kind of similar. So there is a standard renewal fee, and that is $62 per year, and the fiscal year is September 1st to August 31st. There are fees that are prorated. So let's say that you started in June, you'd have to pay $57. In July, it's $52. And then if you registered in August, your renewal is not required until September 1st. And I don't know if it's the September 1st of that year or the following year. So if someone knows and can clarify, let me know in the comment section. What I find interesting on the Amway website is they say that it's a low cost and no risk business opportunity because it's under $100 to join. And the one thing that I will say on a positive note is that they do issue a refund within 90 days if you decide that this isn't for you. But I feel as though if you're going into a business and if you have like a mentor or sponsor, whatever they call it in Amway, I feel as though they're going to push you past that 3 months, because 3 months, you really, I mean, I guess you can kind of see if you're going to be good at it or not, but I feel as though your uplines are going to push you to keep going. They're not going to let you give up. That's just from personal experience in MLMs, where my uplines would not let me give up after 3 months. That was just like a no-no. Because it reflects badly on them too, because they're the ones that recruited you and you're not staying for long enough. So it reflects badly on them too. So I can see why they would push you to stay, and also because they make money off of with bonuses and stuff like that. Another thing that they said on the site was that 27% of the distributors made more than their sponsor in the year 2016. They only say this on their website, so I don't know how accurate that is, but saying that 27%, that's still a low number. And the thing is that if you make more than your sponsor, that doesn't really, I mean, of course it's good for you because you're making money off of your team and off of whatever you're selling. But at the same time, your sponsor is making money off of you too and off of your team without doing as well as you are. Does that make sense? The next thing that I wanted to kind of go over is their deception and their tactics and things of that nature, because whenever I do these deep dives and I look into companies, I do go on YouTube to see if the company has a YouTube, and then of course, more times than not, I will come across ex-distributors telling their story and saying why not to join. Or some people will say that they had a pretty okay experience, they just decided not to do it anymore. So I always do a little bit of both to see from both sides, from the business side, the company side, and the ex-distributor side. Well, I found out that LTD and worldwide groups are somehow affiliated with Amway. So, of course, if you've ever been pitched by Amway, a lot of times they won't tell you that they're with Amway, and they'll mention LTD or worldwide group that is affiliated with Amway. So just in case you ever heard that, it is somehow affiliated with Amway. Now, there was a discussion that I had, and I'm assuming the person that was commenting is an Amway distributor, because they were using the term IBO, which with Amway is independent business owner. Y'all know how I feel about MLM reps calling themselves business owners, but we're gonna keep those feelings aside, and we're just gonna continue going over the rest of these tactics that I personally do not agree with. If you were going to, let's say, an interview or a business meeting, wouldn't you think that it would be in the person's place of business? So for our small business, we're in an industry where it's a little relaxed and it's a little more lenient. So of course, if we want to have a business meeting in our retail location, that's fine. With our business, like I said, it's a little more lenient because of the industry that we're in. However, if you're going to be telling people, it's business casual, so make sure that you dress business casual and you dress appropriately for this meeting, blah, blah, blah. But then you're going to meet at Starbucks and present this business opportunity and not tell them that you're with Amway, and tell them just about the opportunity and say nothing about the company, because a lot of the people that I watched, they did say that they had no idea that it was for Amway. The person basically just like baited them in and said, hey, I have this amazing business opportunity for you, let's chat. And it wasn't until a couple meetings later that they finally came to find out that this was for Amway. I find that very deceptive, because if you are, for example, if you're having a business meeting, or if you're having an interview, even if you're having an interview for a job, you know what job you're applying for, you know what company you're applying for, or if you're going into a business meeting, you know who you're talking to. You know that if someone wants to partner with you, they tell you what company they're with. And I understand that this is a tactic so that they can like lure you in and talk to you before you make up your mind and say, well, Amway's an MLM and they've been accused of being a pyramid scheme. I don't want a part of this. So I do understand that it is a tactic, and that's just what they do. A lot of MLM Huns will say, hey, I have this amazing business opportunity for you, and let's chat a little bit more. And they don't tell you. They're very vague about what company they work for. And it is because in the MLM industry, they have a bad name. I'm just going to say it how it is. They do have a bad name. So that's why they do this tactic, in order to kind of trick you, I guess, is the best way to say it. But the one thing that I found very common with Amway in particular is they even have this in one of their promo videos, where they show that they're meeting at someone's house. Okay. The reason why this kind of bothers me a little bit is because, one, I feel as though that's not professional at all. I think that if you're going to have a group of people, you shouldn't be meeting at someone's house. You can easily go to a local hotel and ask them if you can rent out a space for a conference, like a conference room. And depending on where you're going, it's obviously going to be more expensive. But if you're a successful business owner, you can afford to pay for that. So that's one thing that kind of bothers me a little bit, is that it's very common for them to meet at houses, and it's very common for them to meet when they don't even know you. And the reason why I say that is because as a woman, I would be terrified to meet someone that I don't know in someone else's house. Or on the other hand, let's say that they're hosting this meeting in their home. What happens if someone in the group that you wanted to tell about this business opportunity, what if they're some crazy, have y'all ever watched any of these true crime shows? What if he's another Joe from the show You on Netflix? You don't know that. And now they know where you live. They can spy on you. And call me crazy, call me paranoid. But that is very alarming. And to the people out there who are so willing to go to a stranger's house, please think twice or bring someone with you, only because that can be a very dangerous situation. And I would hate to hear in the news that something happened to someone because they went to a meeting like this. I'm not saying that they're going to. I'm not saying that this is guaranteed to happen. And I'm not saying that, every single Amway rep is a horrible person. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is to be very careful. I find that really alarming. Another thing that is interesting, there was one person that I was watching, and she said that she went to an Amway meeting. She didn't know it was Amway. No one told her anything. They just said, come to this location and we're going to have a meeting. Well, the person that was presenting was talking about the money aspect and the financial aspect and how they are successful. But, and not to sound materialistic or anything, when they left, apparently this guy didn't look very professional, and he got into a car that was on its last limb. I'm not saying that you have to have a fancy car when you're a business owner. I personally think that if you are a business owner and you're not driving a fancy car and you're not being flashy with it, that's great. And I love that you're humble like that. But if you're pitching to someone and you're saying that you're very, very successful financially, you kind of have to put on a little bit of a show. I'm not saying go out there and get a Mercedes or go out there and get a Lambo. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is at least make sure that your car is not having a problem starting. You know what I mean? Like, that's just, I understand that you can have an attachment to a car. Trust me, I know. I have had attachments to my cars in the past. I get it. But if you're trying to present this really successful financial thing that you're trying to talk about, please look the part. Another thing about Amway that I found out is they are very, I guess you can say, religious, and they do base a lot of things on religion. I watched a video from one of their conferences, and they were talking about God. Now, while you guys know my opinion on this, I will love you regardless of if you're religious or not. As long as you're a good human being, I don't care what you believe or don't believe in. But I do have a problem with MLMs using religion as one of their tactics, only because a lot of people have come forward to me and told me that, I was targeted at church, and they told me this was going to be a great opportunity and how they know me so well because we go to the same church. And quite frankly, I do think that that is one of the people that they target. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with that tactic whatsoever. But again, it's a great tactic to use. Another part of another, I guess you can say, promo event, there was a woman speaking and saying how you're eventually going to be able to quit your job, and your 9-to-5 is a pyramid scheme and all that. Here's the thing, is that I feel as though these speakers are just very good motivational speakers, and I don't think that they should be telling people that you are guaranteed to, in a year from now, quit your 9-to-5 and have this be your full-time business. I don't think that that should be said, only because you can't guarantee that. You can't, because even if, let's say, because MLM people hate 9-to-5s. Let's say that you get hired at a 9-to-5 and they tell you, I guarantee that within a year, you're going to be a millionaire and you're going to be the CEO of this company. When you don't know that person, you don't know what they're capable of, you don't know what their skills are. What if they turn out to be the worst employee you've ever had? You can't guarantee that. You can put them on the path to success and you can tell them this is a possibility, but you can't guarantee them that. So, of course, I'll leave a bunch of links to articles in the description box and where I found a bunch of this information. I think I want to do a follow-up because I feel as though I didn't even scratch the surface with Amway. They have been around for so long, and there has been so much drama around Amway. I don't know. I just feel like I should definitely look into it more, and I feel as though this video does not even give justice to some deep dives that are already out there. But what I did want to, because of course you guys know that I like to finish things on a positive note, I wanted to say okay. Someone in my anti-MLM Facebook group, I'm going to leave them anonymous only because she said that she doesn't care, but her husband's probably going to care if I say the name. So this came from my anti-MLM Facebook group. My husband was sucked into Amway 20 plus years ago. They operate exactly like a cult. When he finally came to his senses and had, as per advice of Upline, damaged his credit by paying bills late just to attend functions and rallies cities away, I called the bank and asked if there was anything we could do about the 2 30-day lates on our mortgage. I explained he was involved in a cult, but in recovery. A supervisor called back for more information, and when I told her the cult was Amway, she said, say no more. We'll get it removed this time, but if he goes back, it's on you. I find it funny. When I read that, I started cracking up and I was at a loss for words because I was like, okay, this is funny, but at the same time, it's kind of crazy that she said this and the people at the bank were like, oh yeah, no, we'll handle it. Like, that's crazy to me. But if you have watched up to here, thank you so much for watching. This was a very long video and it took me a little bit of time to research. Yes, if you have watched up to here, thank you so much for watching. This is Monica reporting to you live from a highway. Bye. Don't forget to hit like, dislike, subscribe, support me on Patreon. Just had to add that in there. Okay, bye.